So what would Gwenpool look like a Marvel rival? And I know she has a lot of haters, but I'm gonna put her in here anyways because she has like interesting abilities, which I think could be interesting in game. And she was the first one to bring Jeff into comics, so she gets that plus at least when Jeff's not being annoying. So she's a duelist. I made Deadpool strategist. You got a little dichotomy. So her first primary, she shoots machine fire from she just has dual SMGs, automatic. Then she's secondary. She can switch to a dual wielding blade, so dual melee, kind of like Blade. A little, she can do both, so her melee would be higher than usual. Then her first ability is Panel Warp, where she when she activates it, she leaves a trail behind herself, and it's only visible to herself and allies, so enemies can't see it. And with the trail, she can put three little panel placements around. I guess kind of like Sombra's Recall, but they act as teleports that she can selectively warp to, and that the warps are mostly invisible to enemies. I say mostly, I don't want to make it entirely invisible, so some people like Daredevil might be able to see it with special abilities, but it's mostly invisible because it's a fourth wall break. And for that ability, she was able in her first series to go back and forth between her own panels. It's kind of like a pseudo teleport, but of course it is linear, so which is why it's a trail. She has to place them because panel wise it's like frames per second. She can only go back and forward where she has been. She can't go other places outright or wherever. So next is Panel Prison, where she pushes an enemy off a panel and off the page, and which acts as a stun in an empty white space little prison, which is another thing she was able to do in her series, push people out the page and out the panels. But of course she couldn't actually kill people like this because it would mess with canon and continuity, so they'd come back, which is why it's a stun. And their last ability is Knowledge Check, where she selects an enemy and she uses her knowledge because Gwenpool is like one of us, like a comic reader, basically isekai in a Marvel. So she has like knowledge on everyone from the comics. So this gives her damage boost to whoever she knowledge checks while giving herself damage reduction from that person, act as a kill. Then she's got her little team up with Jeff, obviously, since she's pretty much Jeff's mom, or I guess big sister, since she's like early 20s, not that old. So she puts Jeff in a rocket launcher and can shoot him, which makes a little big splash of water that lands and it damages enemies and heals allies. Then her ultimate is Page Turn, where she grabs the floor and basically flips the page up, which acts to knock enemies into the air. I was thinking of a whole lot of other crazier stuff for fourth wall stuff, but like since it's 3D, translating fourth wall in a game setting, a lot of abilities would probably be hard to render if I got too zany. So I went with something simple because it's a page turn. She's flipping the page and flipping everybody up. So it's a simple stun. It's just the execution of how it's done. So yeah, I think this is just smooth concept for good old Gwen, good old Jeff's big sis along with Kate. Even though I don't have a Kate concept, sadly.